The Reach Power Core family of products is for large-scale outdoor floodlighting applications. Reach Power Core comes in two different sizes. We're showing the Reach Compact today, but also available is a fixture twice the size, which is the standard Reach Power Core. Reach Power Core comes in EW, E-Color, IW or Intelligent White, and color changing. For the color changing versions, you can configure the color configuration separately for the bottom and the top with standard RGB, but also channels of amber and white available. Optional accessories include accessory lenses. You have a standard 5-degree tight beam, but additionally you have an 8-degree, a 13-degree, a 23-degree, a 40-degree, a 63-degree, and then an asymmetric, which is 5 by 17. Depending on the version you have, you'll have different leader cables and different line voltages. The standard version that's shipped up until recently is 100 to 240 volts AC. The new version is 100 to 277 volts AC. The older version ships with a cable which is different than the newer version, so refer to the documentation that comes with your fixture to determine the line voltage and the cable type. The installation method, including the wiring instructions, is identical for the Reach and the Reach Compact and the old version and the new version. So for training purposes, we're going to use the new Reach Compact Power Core for installation. The first step in the installation of your Reach Power Core fixture is determining the number of reaches and the positioning or layout of the reaches off of each data enabler. The number of reaches is determined first by the product type. So Reach Compact consumes a lot less energy than the larger full reach. Also, the line voltage you're using will determine. So many less fixtures off of 100 volts AC versus up to 277 volts AC, depending on your fixture type. The gauge of cable and the spacing of the fixtures will also play a role. You can refer to the configuration calculator on the Philips Color Kinetics website to determine the exact number of fixtures based on your layout for each data enabler. Second step is you want to determine for data integrity max run lengths. From your data enabler to your last Reach Power Core, you can go a maximum of 175 feet. If you're using a star configuration, going a short distance from your data enabler to a junction box, and then home running to multiple Reach Power Core fixtures, you can have a maximum of 400 feet of cable between all fixtures back to the data enabler. For installation, we're using a 12-gauge 4-conductor or a 2.05 millimeter 4-conductor cable to interconnect all reaches running back to the data enabler. Also, each Reach Power Core product comes with a leader cable, which is 6 feet or 1.8 meters. This includes a connectorized end, which connects directly to the fixture, and a whip on the other designed to be mounted into a junction box. Once you've determined the number of Reach Power Core products off of each data enabler and the mounting location for each product, you want to pre-drill holes in the mounting location. These products are very heavy. The Reach Compact is 51 pounds or 23 kilograms. So you want to make sure that they are mounted in such a way that they can bear the weight, especially in a heavy wind load and harsh environments. It's essential that for each product we have 4 holes that you use at least 2 screws to secure them in place. Once the product is in place and securely mounted, you want to tilt the lens and record the serial number on the front. This is important because each product can be uniquely addressed, and during the addressing process, especially in a DMX environment, you'll need to record not only the serial number but the location of each product so it can be addressed later. Once your Reach Power Core fixture is securely mounted to the surface, you want to attach the cable. You'll have one of 2 cables depending on the type of product you have in the version. The first cable has 4 pins, 3 larger holes and 1 small hole. You'll align this to the gland on the back, pushing it in and then turning the outside of the connector clockwise until it locks in place. You'll then connect the other end to a junction box to meet local codes, and then in a wet or damp environment, make sure you seal all entry points with a waterproof silicone sealant. If you have a new version of the product, you'll have a different connector type. You'll have a gray end, and this would press into the fixture and then clip and snap into place. You'll hear an audible snap. Then, as you did with the first type, simply secure the other end into an electrical junction box in such a way that it meets all local codes and seal it with a waterproof silicone sealer. If you're mounting an accessory spread lens onto your fixture, you want to do that after it's mounted and aimed. I'm going to first make sure that I have everything I need to install my lens. Each lens comes with a lens with a gasketed seal around it, a bezel, and a bag of 10 bolts that can be secured in place with a 4mm hex wrench. There's also a washer for each of the 10 bolts. I'm going to start by taking my lens and bezel out of the box and then carefully cleaning off your diffuser lens to get rid of any impurities. You'll notice that there's a writing at the bottom here that designates the spread lens angle or beam. It's important that that be facing out so you can read it clearly. If it's reversed, the spread will not be correct and you'll get a weird effect. So once I've cleaned it off and identified it, make sure that the gasket is on the edge and mount it in place with the beam angle facing out towards you. You'll then take your bezel. There's only one mounting position, and you match up the angle of the bezel with the angle of the fixture itself, placing over and aligning the holes where your bolt will go through with the holes in the fixture. I'll then place my washer over my bolt and secure each of the 10 in place in each hole. You can hand tighten it and then fasten it in place with your 4mm hex wrench until it's securely in place. You can then use your 28mm hex wrench to loosen or tighten the outer bolts so the fixture can be aimed and tilted, and then retighten them, securing them in place. Once you've mounted your fixture and connected it to the junction box, you want to run a final cable from your last or first junction box to your Data Enabler Pro, making sure first that all the connections are secure in each junction box. If it's a damp or wet location, you've sealed all mounting points similar to this on each junction box and around the edge before putting the lid down. You'll then take the last bit of cable. This is a 12 gauge 4-conductor or a 2.05mm 4-conductor cable, and are going to attach it into your Data Enabler Pro. For the Data Enabler Pro, I'm going to start with a small hex wrench provided with the Data Enabler to loosen the captive screws. I can then remove the lid, temporarily remove the safety cable. I can then use the large hex wrench provided with the Data Enabler Pro to loosen the cable cap and remove it. I'm then going to replace the cable cap with a cord grip or strain relief. You then need to strip off the ends of your cables. You're going to have 4 conductors. I'm now going to pass the cable through the strain relief or cord grip, pulling out more than I need. You want to strip back each conductor. There is a guide inside that shows you how to take off, how much to take off, but you're looking for 0.6 inches or 15 millimeters. You're going to remove each one of those. I'm now going to use the small flathead screwdriver that comes with the Data Enabler Pro and attach each of the 4 conductors for line, neutral, ground, and data. The first hole is marked L for line. In most of the world for CE and PSE, this is going to be your brown cable for line. I put the small flathead screwdriver in the small slot, apply pressure to open the hole, drop the brown cable into the line. In North America for UL and CUL, that's going to be a black for line. Next is gray or blue for CE, and this is for neutral. For UL and CUL, that's going to be a white cable. Next is your ground. Ground is going to be green or yellow-green. And then lastly is your data. For CE and PSE, that's black. For UL and CUL, that is red. After you've put each cable in place, you want to test it by pulling it to make sure it's a secure connection. And then you are done securing your leader cable. You want to make sure that you use a silicone sealant like this around your cord grip or strain relief, both against the data enabler and in the cord grip itself, and then tighten the cord grip so it's secure around the cable to prevent any water ingress. Next step would be, if you haven't already, to attach your data cable. This is either going to be Ethernet or DMX, and then your lines voltage, 100 to 240 or 100 to 277 volts AC, depending on your fixture type.